can you speak about your experiences in the West Bank or Gaza, and how do you see the Israeli-Palestinian conflict? How do you see it get resolved, or will there never be a resolution to the conflict?
Well, the question is about the Gaza's, the Palestinian-Israeli question. I've been 3 times to the West Bank and the Gaza and the Golan Heights. Of course, I'm not traveling there because I feel I'm morally superior to the Israelis or the Palestinians. I'm traveling there as a world citizen because that's what has happened to me from my experiences, and I don't come from a country that is a model at all. So I'm not, ever representing that the United States knows better about anything. But what I witnessed in the Golan and the Gaza and the West Bank, again, that's just during the first Intifada. You have to see it to believe it, and it's got much worse than the second Intifada. It's really pretty incomprehensible, but it probably would have been like what it was in South Africa during apartheid. And there's a lot of experiences I could talk about, but it's the same pattern when one group of people feels superior to another and controls them. It happens to every group that controls another group. They become monsters in order to justify their controlling another people. And so you demonize them. We did it. We as a country do it all the time, all over the world. So I was put in jail by the Israeli Defense Forces in Ramallah because I was with another Jewish veteran. I was there on a veterans delegation, one of my trips, Mark Birnbaum from Texas. We were videoing 3 soldiers beating up 2 Palestinian kids, but we were behind a bush because in the law of occupation, you're not allowed to film or photograph the Israeli Defense Forces. And so Mark, who was a Vietnam veteran, is a Vietnam veteran and a professional videographer. So he's filming behind some bushes, and apparently the sunlight reflected off his lens, and it caught the eye of one of the soldiers. And so they then came to the bush and grabbed us and took us to the jail in Ramallah. And we were only in the jail maybe 5 hours. But they wanted that footage. And Mark Birnbaum had taken the film out of his camera and put it in his pocket, kept his hand in his pocket with the other hand on the camera, filming the whole time we're in the police station, in the jail, until they took the camera away. And they had to bring in an Israeli intelligence officer who could speak English to interrogate us. And that intelligence officer couldn't believe there was a Jewish person from the United States that was filming, and he was just in shock. And Mark just said, "You are going to have to rip my pants and my arm out of my pants to get that film, because you're not getting it." And that Mark is the same guy when we were spending a night in a Jabalia camp. I think it was, we were in a number of camps, but I think it was the camp in Gaza. It's the biggest camp of the 30 camps or so that have been there since '48 for Palestinians. We were bedding down for the night in a room that was this family's workroom. This is in one of the camps. We'd had dinner there, dinner that night, and there was a key on the wall, and one of our members said, "What's that key for?" And they said, "Oh, that's our house that we had in 1948. When we fled, the key was in our pocket. And we've not been able to go back to our house, of course, but we keep that key to remind us that our house is 8 miles away. And we've not been able to go to our house since then. We've driven by once or twice," he said. So we're bedding down. It's very hot, and it's in a room that they use, that the Palestinian adults in that family use as a workroom during the day, sewing and some woodworking. And they had cleared out the floor so we could have mats on the floor, and there were 8 of us. And there was one vent on the wall that was closed, and Mark said, can we open the vent because it's so hot? And this is not a room that people slept in. It was a workroom during the day. And I'll never forget their response to Mark and then Mark's response to them. They said, oh, please, we have to ask you to keep the vent closed because on the other side of that wall is an alley where the Israeli soldiers patrol all night long. And if they hear anybody in that room at night snoring or talking or sneezing or anything, they will know somebody's sleeping in there that's not supposed to be there, and they will come to the door and take the men of the house to prison. And it was like, you know, kind of a shock. This is what they live under. And Mark said, well, now I know what it was like for the Jews in the Warsaw Ghetto. And it was just like one of those moments, you know, it's like, whew.